Alright, excuse me, but so I have my schedule for the week, well, for the rest of the month. So I'm just gonna go ahead and decorate it from there. Now, see, I don't do the words of the year, I do divination cards. So this is one that I have, and this one is from it's the African Goddess Divination set. So this is what I do. And then I just write a little blurb about them. I put them in the front, but yeah, I don't do the whole, like, it has that one, but I'm like, yeah, it's always gonna be bro, so I prefer the actual divination. Alright, so I have, well, this month I'm working the weekends, which I'm not mad about. I kind of prefer it that way I don't have to be bothered with a lot of people, because it has been irking as hell these past few weeks. So just going to, so this was last week. This was the 5th through the 11th. I just had 2 days working because I worked that Sunday and I worked 12-hour shift, except for this day where I worked an 18-hour shift, and it's just it was just a lot. So just gonna go through and just grab out each one instead of taking them all out. This one I don't need. Is this one the right one? That one. Yeah, so that's what I need here. So after this one, I have another month on this contract. I'll be done like the first week of March, and I am ecstatic. This is the second contract that I am not extending. They knew better than to ask me, and yeah, so I'm just done. You know, I try not to really get too irked about stuff, but man, the whole medical field itself is just not what it used to be. And the manager, like I said, she's leaving, so she's downgrading to be a bench tech. And again, I don't blame her, because nobody wants to deal with being a tech, not a tech, but a director, because no matter what it is that you go through, they always blame the lab. Even if we prove to them that it wasn't our fault, that we had nothing to do with it, that their stuff is misplaced, they still be like, oh, well, it could have, no, it could not have been. And the manager that I'm under, the complaints I heard about her is that she doesn't protect the lab, which she don't. She just let them do whatever they want. They have no respect for the lab. And I don't know about y'all, but if you don't have a lab, then y'all ain't getting y'all shit done. So the fact that I work at a hospital who don't give a damn about the lab is hilarious. But to be fair, they don't care about their staff either. So, you know, I guess it's a win-win for them. And when I mean they don't care about their staff, I mean they do not give a okay, so the cafeteria closes at 2 Monday, and the cafeteria is only open Monday through Friday, and on Monday through Friday it closes at 2. So it's only open for day shift employees. Second shift employees normally don't show up until like 3. Every once in a while you may get like a 1 o'clock shift, but yeah, you have that, and it's damn sure ain't there for night shift. And by the time they open in the morning, night shift people are just ready to go to fuck home, so they not even worried about going to the cafeteria. And then the cafeteria is not open on the weekends. So the cafeteria only serves day shift, Monday through Friday, and the people who are actually in the hospital, or the patients who are in the hospital. So I'd ask them, I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, what, like, don't they, have y'all talked to, ask them about that? And apparently, they did ask them, because I've been in other places where they at least made sandwiches, and you were just able to go down there, write down your badge number, or put cash in a little drop box to get your food. And they were told that the staff that worked there said no, they're not doing it. And I'm like, but y'all there any goddamn way throughout the night serving the patients. So how hard is it for you to make sandwiches or fruit cups for the goddamn people that work there? And I'm like, okay, so that's something I've never came across. I don't know how it happens or what goes on, but for them to be like, no, we don't give a damn and we'll close the cafeteria. Mind you, they still there working, so their fucking asses get to eat. We, on the other hand, if we don't bring our food, then we have to go either there's a Dairy Queen and a Hardee's, and that is the only thing that is around here. Unless you want to go to the 7-Eleven. There is nothing here. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I just get so sick and tired of just the politics, the back and forth, how they be treating everybody, how everybody just don't give a damn, and it is what it is. And it's like, I just can't. I can't. I'm just so tired of just the politics within the hospital itself. These hospitals, they just do not care. They don't give a damn about anybody. It's always what can they do for their pockets? How can they sit there and keep more and more money in? And I'm like, bruh. And it's like, I don't know, man. But I know I have a year and a half. I have a year and a half left on my, what is it called? On my license. And so that means I have a year and a half to move into a new career. I'm still not sure on if I want to work in a private office. I'm not really looking forward to trying to even work in a private office, because that again has its own issues. I did work at a private pediatric office, and they decided that because it was summertime and they weren't getting the patients that they thought they were getting, which was stupid, because we know during the summertime all the kids are at the Riviera or they're overseas with their parents, and they decided that they were just going to cut our hours, which ended up being the worst thing they did, because they did not want to pay us in the lab. So the doctors would come in, and how they would schedule is they would schedule an appointment for a kid every 15 minutes per doctor. And they scheduled 2 patients every 15 minutes for every doctor. And we had 5 doctors. So by the time the doctors got finished talking to, that's right, she got me doing two stupid freaking 2 8s and 2 12s. So what they did is that each doctor had 2, 4, 6, 8. Was it? Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, so every doctor had 8 patients an hour. Mind you, you're not going to be able to see a patient within 15 minutes. Why? Because they sit there and they talked all goddamn day. So they're sitting there spending an hour with each patient. So it's coming in, it's backing up. So by the time they go in there to see a patient, we knew that within What do I not have? I don't think I have anymore. We knew that within an hour, that patient was going to be down at the lab. Now, we had, we always had a list of the types of tests that we did for infants, 10 months, a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, a 8-year-old panel, a 10-year-old panel, a 15-year-old panel, because every child got a different testing. Like lead testing was done at a certain age, and not every kid, we're going to get panels or whatever like that. So we had all that stuff going on. So I'm like, okay, cool. I guess these are going to have to go. So I'm like, okay, fine, yeah, whatever. We deal with that. But then it got to the point where they were mad at us. They said because we were taking too long, and I'm like, the hell you mean we taking too long? You're the one that has 8 goddamn patients, and it's going to take a good hour for each patient that you see until they come see us. So when we do see them, they're already running an hour behind, so it got to the point that during the summertime came, it trickled down, and the secretaries didn't know how to schedule. They would let the patient figure the schedule and be like, no, that's not how that goes. Because we would end up having 80 patients on Monday, but then 12 on Tuesday. You don't do that. You schedule to make it easier for us, not for the parents. And I know some people's like, what are you talking about? And look, you have never had to sit there and draw blood from 80 goddamn kids. It is very, very, very draining. It is a long time, so all the process we have to see. So when we do that, they're supposed to spread it out to make sure that the whole week is full, so you don't have a heavy week, and then the rest of the week nothing's going on, and then it does not work that way. Is not helpful. That makes everything just it makes everything worse. It really 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 do. Did I want to put these here? I'm trying to figure out if I want to put these here because I know I did want to track my water. I think I probably put them on the other page. Yeah, so we had that, and so what they did is they started penalizing us. Okay, but you remember this? They started penalizing the tech because they weren't getting enough patients. Not penalizing the secretaries who was scheduling them wrong, but they was penalizing us. Like, we know how the hell to do the goddamn scheduling and have your kids come in. So they yeah, because I worked that Sunday, so they end up penalizing us. So how they penalized us was they went on ahead and for me and the other girl, normally if say like if it's like a Tuesday and we check the schedule and it's 10 kids in the morning and like 12 in the afternoon, and we see their age, so we know what they're coming for. We're like, okay, well, we're probably only going to have like 10 kids the whole day getting labs. Some of them are there for shots, so they're not getting labs, so there's no point of them coming to us. So whenever that happened, me and the other girl who was part-time, or full, no, we were still full-time, what we would do is we'll be like, well, I'm not going to come in that day because there's no point of all of us coming in if we're just going to be sitting around. Like we did hearing and vision as well. So if I didn't have a lot of kids that need to get their hearing and vision done, then I would just be in a lab. But if it's just me in a lab and I'm not doing anything, that's kind of a waste of my time, and it's a waste of the practices time to have all these people on the schedule, and we're not here to it's just wasting money. So we would volunteer and be like, okay, hey, we're not coming in today because we only got this many kids. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Apparently that wasn't good enough. So it got to the point where they was just screwing up the schedule so bad that I actually went from working 40 hours, working an 80-hour 2 weeks to working 6 hours in 2 weeks. They cut me from 80 goddamn hours to 6 hours. And their reason was we don't have a lot of kids. We never have a lot of kids during the summertime. You dumbasses, they out with their parents. But we know when July come back, they're getting everything they need for sports. They're coming back from overseas. They need their shots. They need blood work. They need all this stuff done. So I was like, so I went in there, I quit. I'm like, I'm not, yeah, y'all not wasting my goddamn time. So I quit because my manager saw that. She was like, oh my God. She was like, this isn't good. She already knew I was gonna be like, you lost your mind, because I only went back because I was there for 5 years, and I only went back because of my manager. Because I trained with her when I was in school. She was my first externship, and I loved working with her. She taught me so much. So whenever I took a contract or if I was working somewhere else, I would work there part time, and I always went back because I knew that they needed the help, and I really wasn't tripping about everything. I just ain't paying no attention. But for me to actually go full time, to tell you I'm going to work full time, and then for you to screw me over, and that wasn't a bad part. The another part about it that sucked was the fact that they I had to work 13 out of 14 days. So they paid us bi-weekly, but they harassed us weekly. So if we didn't get 40 hours one week, they were like, well, you didn't meet your 40-hour requirement. Mind you, we're the lab. So we're not there all the time, or we're there overtime because the nurses came at 8 and they left at 5. That was their schedule. They did not have to stay. However, we had to come between 8, 9, and 10. Why? Because they didn't want to pay us. And then we were there from 5 to 6. Why? Because if you have 8 patients at a time and it takes you an hour to get to an hour from your patient to get from you to us, we're going to be there from 5, 6. If you have a 4 o'clock patient, we're not going to see them till like 5:30. So we had to go through all that stuff. So they didn't want to pay us. Mind you, these doctors, they lived in Northwest DC. So you already know the homes in Northwest DC are like $1, $2 million. They drive on Porsches. They rolling in the damn dough. Trust me on this, because that office only take cash. They do not take insurance. So them parents just got their credit cards on file. And, the nannies are dropping them off. The Secret Service people is dropping them off. Like we were in that part of DC. So them bastards had money and they was raking it in. So they decided that for us, it was not important it wasn't important for us to be there. So they they screwed us all, and only for me for when I got in contact with them, because the other girl, she actually took that job because she was doing her master's, so that was going to be a way for her to save money and everything. But instead, she got screwed over, and she was like, she needed that job to help offset what she was doing for a master's degree. Because you all know, when you get your master's, you can't work. You spending all your time on your master's, you trying to survive on what you have, and they screwed us over bad. And I was like, yeah. So I bounced. I'm like, I could kiss my black ass. I'm not doing this. I'm so sick and tired of just the medical field caring only about their pockets. They don't give a damn about anything else. So when I called, they went from being mad that they had to pay them, just gonna leave that like that. They got mad that they had to pay them overtime, to all of a sudden, another guy that worked there, he decided to quit. And he was like, I'm just not coming back. So he quit. I quit. The other girl ended up quitting. And they only had two techs there, which was the manager. Well, they had three. The manager that was she's retiring, so the new one could come in, and then the full-time phlebotomist. But he would actually end up going on vacation. So you got two people there, but you got over 100 kids. And they was telling me they had it was in August. Them kids was coming back and they had nobody. So they was like, can you call somebody? And they was like, no. They all quit because you dogged them out. And I'm like, that's just what you get. So now they had to pay them way, way, way more overtime money because they was too lazy. They was cheap. Now this is how I do work. The vertical section of it is I have, when I clock in, when I go to lunch, when I clock out, who's coming in, what bench they're at, who I relieved, and if anything that didn't happen here. And then any weekend adventures is just all the stuff that happened. So we had a couple of bleeders. We had our coag analyzer was acting up. We had our blood bank analyzer was acting up. We had blood products we need to order. It was very interesting. And this day, that was the day that I had to do a split shift because one of our coworkers called out. So I came in, and then I got to work late because there was a tractor trailer brakes caught on fire. So that delayed me. So I got to work an hour late, and then I left at 3, but I clocked out at 2:30 because I you cannot get overtime, and we already know why. But we cannot get overtime, so they were freaking out. I'm like, trust me, I'm not about to get overtime. I'm here for 40 hours. I barely want to work my hours, so don't worry about it. So I clocked out at 2:30. I went home. I went to Food Lion, got me some groceries, took a nap. I got back to work at 7, but I didn't clock in until 9, so that way I won't be over hours. So I actually end up finishing, like, I had by Sunday and Wednesday was 24 hours. So then I worked another um, 16 hours on Thursday into Friday morning. So that way, I did what I had to do and get no extra hours and everything. But bruh, that's the thing about that's the thing about being garbage and having to figure out who's going to work what. I mean, that's just how it is. That's way too big, so that's not gonna work. That's just how it is. So, there's only but so much that we can actually do. But as far as the pediatric office, yeah, it ticked me off because it's like, you know what? I did not have to do any of that stuff. I could have been like, screw you. I'm not worried about it. It is what it is. But instead of us actually volunteering not to come into work, you still said I wasn't good enough because you didn't want to pay us. I swear, man, greed. The medical field is about nothing but greed. They could care less about helping you. And that's why I look at my license. June 2027, my license expired. And I'm sitting there like, am I just going to go ahead and be like, you know what? Just going to let it expire? Am I going to decide I'm going to take the test and upgrade my license? Do I just want to not take the test, upgrade my license, and just do my credits so I can go ahead and maybe work for a private practice? Like, what is it that I actually want to do? And I don't know. Granted, the lab is damn sure not a place that I enjoy. I'm not gonna lie about that. I thought it would have been, not a woohoo moment, but I thought it would have been more rewarding, but after going into my first position as a blood banker, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I hated the hospital. I hated how, I got the eye-opening taste of how much doctors and nurses lie. And it's not all of them, but I got to know how much doctors and nurses lie about what really go on and how much they are at fault and blame it on everybody else. And I just couldn't do it. Like, I left that crap and I really wasn't trying to, but people just don't care. People just don't give a good goddamn about anybody's well-being but their own, so I'm sit there, I'm doing research, I'm looking at, like, okay, well, you go ahead and you could focus on doing all of this good stuff and looking at the classes, and then I realized the only scholarships in education that they offer were for nurses. They didn't offer it for nobody else. They only offered it for nurses. They didn't offer it for, I didn't see anything for surgical techs. I didn't see anything for the lab. I didn't see anything for rad tech, x-ray tech. It was only for nurses. And I'm like, so just screw everybody else in the hospital. We get no education. We get no scholarships. You get nothing. And it ticked me off because I've come across so many really good nurses. Like, I've learned a lot from some of the nurses that I've worked with. And when I joined the Army, I actually supposed to go into the Air Force. But at the time, she told me, well, you're going to be a nurse. I said, nah, we're not doing that. She said, well, well, you school. I'm like, I'm not going to be a nurse because this was in 98. And they were telling you what they wanted. And I'm like, I do not have the bedside manner to be a nurse. Trust me on this. I'm going to end up fighting the patients and other nurses. So, no. So, I just went on ahead and joined the Army. Like, forget it. Whatever. And even now, I still don't have, I don't say I have the bedside manner. For the past 5 years, 6 years, I have been drawing patients. So I've been at the bedside. I've talked to patients, I know I do have the bedside manner, but I can't deal with the other nurses. Hell, some of the other nurses can't deal with the other nurses. And I just find it hilarious. Like I said, I've seen some wonderful nurses. I've watched nurses get together when a patient was choking. I'm trying to draw the blood. The patient ends up choking, and then they stop everything, and you get the one nurse that coordinates everything. Next thing you know, I'm watching them intubate a patient, working on it, and I'm like, oh yeah, y'all good. Y'all real nurses. Y'all know exactly what's going on. I saw another nurse in the process of intubation. Then I saw what are they called? I think he is the AP, no, a CRNA, certified registered nursing anesthetist. Yeah, I think it is a CRNA. And I saw him working on a patient that they had to intubate. And I was sitting there waiting because, I had to draw the blood to make sure everything was good with the patient. And I saw her open her eyes, and I saw his eyes get big. And he's like, hey, you're awake. And I saw the other nurse panic. And she hit a few buttons, and the patient went right back to sleep. And then we all looked at each other. And then we looked at the patient, and we was like, she was a redhead. I was like, oh, my goodness. But days later, she was so much better, and I'm just looking at, like, those are people, those are the nurses that I have so much respect for. That is a difficult job, and I do applaud a lot of nurses, the older ones and the ones who are actually in it for healthcare. I applaud them because, man, they be doing the damn thing. Some of the other ones, though, yeah, I come across, I call those the baby nurses. They don't know what the hell they doing. They just in there to try to look cute in their figs, in their Starbucks, and their Stanleys. That's it. They really don't know. They don't have a goddamn clue what's going on. But I don't know. But I'm just done with the medical field. It's stressful. I haven't come across a lot. Okay, I have not come across a lot of doctors that actually know what they're doing. Okay, so now this is really bad to say, but everybody knows how you have those doctors, 22 to 25th. Everybody has that set of doctors who they just know. We still trying to figure out how the hell you became a doctor, and I've come across nurses who had to let doctors know who they talk to, and I'm like, see, y'all better leave them nurses alone because they are a lot smarter than you. They know exactly way more than what you do. Just because you're a doctor don't mean you know what you're doing. Just because you have a degree or a certification don't mean nothing. I need people to understand that. That does not mean anything. Just because you're educated doesn't mean anything. I wish people would understand that. A degree doesn't make a person intelligent. Just know that. But where is it at? But I keep trying to figure out what is there. Okay, that's not my little notes. But no, that's not it. So I could just take this out. So I have learned, but it's like, okay, I'm trying to figure out where I was because I forget stuff really, really bad, and I blame it on the injury I had when I was in the military, when we were overseas driving, and I think we ended up picking up the wrong map, or they didn't upgrade the map, and we drove off a cliff, and we were knocked unconscious for several hours. So I'm missing. So I have a hard time memorizing stuff, so now I'm going to order some sticker paper so I could put these on. But because at first I was just tossing them, and I'm like, why should I toss them? Because I have more stuff. But I'm going to utilize them or whatever. But if I could get some more, here we go. So I have to try to remember where I'm at sometimes, and it becomes a little difficult, and then sometimes I go off tangent and I forget what I'm talking about, which is probably what's happening here. And that's crooked. It is what it is. But so we all have those doctors who don't know what they're doing, and we know that because a patient will come in. We know what the patient is in for because we're the lab. We can look in a patient's chart when it comes to care, especially if we're looking at results, and results look off from where the patient was in there earlier. We are able to look at a chart and be like, oh, this patient is a heparin patient. Oh, this patient, they just got medication. Or this patient just got blood, so this why the delta values look like this. So we have to make sure that we're just not approving stuff. And when we're getting the alert, like, hey, check to see what's going on, so we do that. A lot of labs that I've been to don't do that. They could care less what's wrong with the patient. They don't care. So I'm just gonna let you know that right now, they just don't care. But what I've been told is that that's the whole point of the lab. When we look into your chart, we sign in. From every time we sign into a patient's chart, we are tracked. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm about to say because not all systems, but yeah, Epic is where a system I normally work with. But a lot of systems that you check into track you. They track every keystroke, so they know exactly what you're in into. So when you go into a chart, I always put in patient care because that's what I'm doing. I'm doing patient care. I'm checking to make sure that everything's okay. Why that patient's delta is off. Like, did they receive any medication? Like, what's really going on? So we go from there. And I know I've been doing it right because I've never had to sit down in a counseling meeting for going to a patient's chart because I don't care what's in your chart. I just want to make sure that you are okay and that the results that I got are accurate and I'm not doing nothing wrong. So I know how to pay attention. I know how to pay attention, not being people's business. Can't say that for a lot of other people. But we do have those doctors who when we're doing something, we take a look and we start getting stupid tests. Like we start getting add-ons for HIV, hepatitis, and we looking like the patient came in here for this. Why the hell? Then we're like, well, what doctor's on duty? Then we're like, oh, so they don't know what they're doing. I'm telling you right now, they don't. A lot of them don't know what they're doing. They don't know what's wrong. So instead of not doing a test and sending you somewhere else, they start adding all this other stuff. And I'm like, all right, here y'all go. Here y'all go. So that's what that is. So one thing I do would like to say to everybody is that please check your bill. I am not a billing coded specialist. I do go to the hospital because I do have heart failure, and I do because I was overseas. So I definitely I've always checked my blood work to make sure I don't have like something I ain't supposed to, haven't been exposed to anything. Because man, being in the military is a very rewarding experience. So I just sit there and make sure that everything's okay. But I also take a look at my bill and make sure that they're not testing me or putting in orders for something that has nothing to do with it. Like one order I put in that my insurance said he was going to pay is a pelvic exam. And I said, wait a minute. I went in there for a heart procedure. Where the hell did this pelvic exam come from? So I had to call my insurance and figure out what's going on, only for them to tell me that the people who put in the wrong code. I'm like, they better have, because why are you sitting down that you did a vaginal exam, a pelvic exam, when that's not what I went to? And the thing about it is, it was no anesthesia. I went in there for a heart procedure and I was awake the whole time talking to a doctor, just doing some type of testing. So what are you talking about? I have a heart procedure. It was a pelvic thing. So you have to pay attention because sometimes they'll write the wrong code. And it takes them forever. It takes them forever to put the correct code in there. It takes them around 30 to 45 days to correct the code, and I don't understand it because my mother did billing and coding. My mom went to school for billing and coding, and that's what she did. And it really shouldn't take that long for them to fix an error that they made, but whatever. So, always got to pay attention. For that, always have to make sure that, while you're in the hospital, you ask what they're testing you for, what's going on, because, COVID did two things. It let everybody know that there's more to life than working for people who don't care for you. And it also let people know that, I don't trust y'all. So, it was bad, but it was good. It was bad and it was good. So. No, that's trash. This is supposed to go over here. That's right. I'm going to put some more stuff over there. So it is what it is. There's only, there's only but so much stuff that we can say and we can do. So, yeah. I have worked with some really good doctors. And I've worked with some really bad doctors. It's the same no matter what field you're in. You have good coworkers and bad coworkers. And education, it does not necessarily weed out the bad ones. It just makes it hard for you to figure out who the stupid ones are. That's that. That's all that does. Did I want that? I'm trying to figure out. This goes. I think I could do that. Nope, I don't want to do that because I could use it for something else. And now I do like this, but I think, but I don't know, like I like these and I got them, so I can use them for work. But I'm thinking that I may, and see what I do is when I have stuff like this that I know I'm not going to use, I'll take them out. And I'm going to end up putting them in that sticker book I have. Because then I know that'll just be extras and I'll do the same thing here. So, because I'm not going to be using a lot of the to-dos or anything like that. So, those are set to the side. And then the only thing I'm looking for is just really decorations. Because again, this is my work planner, so it is functional to a point. But I also want to make sure that everything is covered. If I can't find something to put down there, I'll probably just fill it in with some of stickers. Actually, I could just go ahead and do some of these. Just use them to fill them up. But yeah, there's so much stuff that I can do that I would like to do when it comes to my license. I went to farm tech school, but I didn't take my license. That was stupid on my part. But however, I actually can take a course and still do it, still go ahead and get licensed as a farm tech, which would probably be something better because I can work, I can still work in a hospital if I want to, but I think I'll just be working like Monday through Friday, because you don't see the pharmacy at night. You'll see the pharmacist at night, but you don't see the farm techs because we ain't there. They need a pharmacist for all that stuff. So, seems kind of good for me. But I don't know. I'm just confused on what I want to do, how I want to go about my medical career, because I actually have a very good idea of what I want to do. It's just trying to go around and make it happen, which is something that, you always got to worry about, is trying to figure out how to make it happen, what you want to make happen. And I know I'm probably missing half the conversations I started, and I truly don't even know what they were. So, there that goes again, but I don't know. I have a year and a half. I can do PRN, which is just working every so often. I could do that because I could work full time for training, and then after that, I'll work just a few hours a week, or a couple of days a week, or a few days a month, or something like that. So I have that going on, but I don't really know exactly how I'm gonna go about doing it. I know for one of the ideas I have for my business, I definitely have to get an LLC, so I could go ahead and knock it out the park. But I still have a lot more education that I would have to do, which really isn't as much as I need to, because I am 5 credits shy of one of my degrees. Not 5 credits, 5 classes, which is like 12 credits or something like that. I'll fix that later. So I'm not that far. And it's something that I'm working on, but I had to take unfortunately, I had to take a longer break than what I thought from the class due to the heart failure, so that right there just kind of irked me a little bit, because you think that you're trying to do something, but then something else happens and pops up and everything. So it just take a longer moment for me to do what I want to do, but it's okay. I can handle it. But I'm just still trying to figure out. Like, I enjoyed going to new labs and everything like that. Like, it's exciting to see what new equipment they have and all the other types of stuff, but in the grand scheme of things, once that dies out, I'm not excited anymore. I'm just sitting there like, okay, I was happy. This is the new equipment that they're using, or something that I haven't used in a few years, and oh wow, they upgraded it, they did this, yada yada yada, and then that's it. And then it's back to the same crap, different hospital. And that's one thing I could say. Every hospital has been exactly the same. And that is the only thing that's universal. The healthcare itself is not universal. The testing is not universal. The bullshit is. The lack of communication between all departments still happens. Everybody pointing fingers and nobody want to take responsibility for what it is. It still happens. People thinking that the lab is not educated, and I cannot tell you, between me and listen to some of the other techs, how many techs, nurses, doctors, and when I mean techs, I mean like techs outside the lab, have asked us, do you need a degree to work in a lab? And I've just wanted to slap the hell out of each and every one of them. Yes, we need a degree. They just picked me off the corner and was like, you know what? You could work in the hospital. Like, it is disgusting. Like, there are people in a lab who I've worked with who have PhDs, master degrees. They're in the lab, and you're asking, do you need to go to school? Do you need to have education where we can tell you more than what you know? Like, it is disgusting. And I think that's one of the reasons why I stay with the debacle of, do I want to do this? Because I'm just so tired of the disrespect. I'm so tired of them thinking that we're stupid, we're ignorant, we don't understand what's going on. Oh, it's the lab's fault. No, actually, it's your fault. You don't know how to draw the patient. You don't know what the labs are for. You don't know what the testing is for. Before, whenever anybody had to come into the lab or they got hired on, they used to walk through the lab. They would have to know the equipment. They would have to know how long testing takes. You bring this test down here, all your chemistry is going to take between, I don't know, 20 minutes to like an hour and a half, depending on what it is. They don't do that no more. People don't even know where the lab is. They know where outpatient lab is, but they actually have no idea where the lab is. And some people, including patients, don't even know what the lab do. And it's not a good place to work at. And the lab is going to suffer within the next 5 to 10 years. Before I came onto this contract on December 8th, which was a Monday, that Friday, 4 techs retired. Nobody replaced them because nobody wants to work in the lab because we are just tired. We have no protection. There are no lab techs. The ones who have the degrees that run AC, we are in the American Society for Clinical Pathologists. We have no protection. The nurses have protection. Rad techs have protections, probably surgical techs. I'm pretty sure all those techs have protections or have unions. We have nothing at all. But yet we're still supposed to be there and take the abuse. And I'm just sick and tired of it. And every time I think that, maybe this will be different, it shows me every time why no, it is not different. It is still the same. At this point, you just got to figure out where you want to be abused at. Do you want to be abused on a beach? Or do you want to be abused in a nice winter setting? I know it's so bad to say, but that's how it is. That's just how it is. You just got to figure out where you want to be abused at, because that's all that's left. Today's the 11th. So, I got my 2 evening shifts, my 2 night shifts, and then I'm off for 4 days, and then I work for 4 days, and then I'm off for 3, work for 2, and then we won't get our schedule again probably till the freaking 29th, because But after that, this schedule should be the last. This is my last schedule I get because, baby, I can't do this no more. Matter of fact, Monday, I'm going to call my recruiter and let him know. Call recruiter for new contract. Because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it no more. I'm done. I can't. And then on top of that, we don't have no water. So I wanted to get some water to fill up my water bottle. But apparently, there are no water. All the fountains have been turned off. And apparently, they've been turned off since COVID. I'm like, wow. Wow. So there are no water fountains that you can actually use. Now, you can go to the nurses station. I'm not going over there. They dirty. And when I mean they're dirty, I literally mean they're dirty. They don't clean at their station. I can go, and that's on the 1st or 2nd floor. I'm not going to do either one. I could go to the 3rd floor. However, I'm not, because the 3rd floor is where the mental patients and our inmates are housed. And I be damned, because the water fountain is in the back of the hallway. It's in the back hallway, and it's by itself in this little cut. Nope. I'm not about to be hemmed up by a mental patient walking by, or if a prisoner gets loose and take me hostage. No. So, maybe working in a hospital is not for the faint of heart. And I feel so bad for the nurses that have to go through that crap, because as much as some of them get on my nerves and some of them do such a good job, they really are dogged out. They be dogging the hell out of these nurses. And it's funny because they always talk about it's a nurse shortage. No, it is not. It is not a nurse shortage. What you have is a shortage of nurses willing to take crap. It's not a nurse shortage. Is y'all making it seem that way? There's plenty of people who want to go to school be a nurse. Plenty of people who are graduating nursing school. Y'all just don't know how to pay. Y'all just don't know how to respect people. That's all. Still got my lab passwords, which is more. This is still stuff. Quag and serology. I didn't have anything here because I didn't order. I was going to order, which I'm still going to place my order for cloth and paper. But at the time, I only wanted a couple of items. And those couple of items that I wanted to order was going to be $42, which was the shipping and handling and taxes. Mind you, it was just 2 items. I said, you done lost your mind. I'm not ordering that. I'm not paying $42 for 2 items. So that's why they're not in here. But that's all. But that's all of this for this long one. So this is for the rest of the month. So this is for the week coming up, which is the 12th through the 18th. I have my evening shifts in which I'm working 1 o'clock to 9:30. And the other evening, I'm doing the same thing, 1 o'clock to 9:30. And then Friday, I'm working my night shift, which is 9 o'clock. Am I coming in at 9 or I'm coming in at... No, I'm coming in at 7, so I'm coming in at 7 o'clock until 7:30. Yeah, 7 o'clock to 7:30. So I got my 2 12s, my 2 8s, 24 and 16 gives me my 40 hours. So then I'm good on that one. And that is it. Like I said, I wanted to do my water stickers, and I don't think they're not going to fit here unless I put them all the way down. Because it's just that, because they're not, I mean, they can fit here on the top, but I normally use this to write down stuff that goes on. If anything is messed up, I write it here. And same thing for this one. This is where I just write down everything else. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. But I still need to track water because my planner stays open at the bench I'm on, so I'm always looking at it. I think I'm just gonna put it on this side, so that way I'll see it and be like, oh, I need to go ahead and track my water. Because when I tell you, I ain't never been so dehydrated in a day at a job in my life. Like, my goodness, it's killing the system. So that way I see exactly how much liquid, how much water I'll be taking in, because that's what this is. And then I worked 4 days here, which is 4 12s. Yeah, which is 4 12s. Because I went through the book, and you know what? I don't know. I thought they had more of these stickers, anything, but I see that I'm going to have to order some. A sticker book from Kelva Plan. I think she has a lot of them for the Mini Happy Planner. And because I like those because it covers everything up and it gives me a lot of space to write. You know, so I'll figure that out. And these actually could have been put up here, but nah, that's going to mess up. So, yeah. And that's it, right? Yep. So that's all for the month. And again, this is going to be from when I clock in, lunch, clock out. And I don't actually clock in with my badge because it doesn't work. It's been over a month. It's been 6 weeks, and my ID badge still doesn't work. So I clock in. I just type it in on a computer and I just fill it out myself. So yeah, I know they still working on it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I don't pay no attention. I got this one, yeah, because I turn in my what is it, my timesheet on Saturdays. Turn in timesheet. And I type it in because, again, working in the lab, I don't need to type it on there. I need to type it here. Because working in the lab, we don't actually, we don't need, turn in timesheet. We don't actually need, or we don't have managers, and we technically don't need managers. We pretty much regulate ourselves. The only reason why we have a lab director is to take care of like any issues. But anybody else in the hospital have like they think something happened with the lab or some blah 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 blah. That's when we have them. But for the most part, we don't need a manager. For one, they're not there any damn way. They always taking vacation or going somewhere else, so they're not there. I think one of my contracts, the manager wasn't there for like the first week of my contract, so I didn't even meet her. So when she came back and was talking, I didn't know who she was. I'm like, well, you don't come to work, so I don't know who you are. I'll keep this. Can I? No. I'll keep it in here. But this is how my planner set up. And I thought that these were more than what I thought. Which is still fine. I could use the boxes and everything. These for me clocking in, and then I could use these in the dashboard, which are very pretty. I could use those in the dashboard, and then in the vertical section. But then the rest of these are just I could use these. I like the I think I got this one because I wanted to use these in the months for the days that I would be actually working. You know, instead of using. Like, I still gonna put the stickers in there, but I had them because I was gonna use them in here. And I think they do not fit. They are too wide for it. Which is weird. That is too wide. I don't think they pay attention when they be making these things because they only fit. I mean, they don't fit. Whatever. I'll still use them in the dashboards. I can even use these. No, not really, because I can't do a lot of writing in these, but they would be cute for the decorations on the days I don't work. You know, so I can do with that. Like I could put those in there. But see, yeah. And these I believe are too wide. If you look at them, I believe that these are, again, too wide for the actual planner. I think they might fit. But yeah, I have to figure it out. One of these will fit. I don't care about them covering up the dates, so I still have some more that I can use, and then the rest of these, I'm just gonna go ahead and put in a little sticker sheet and stuff like that. So yeah, next time I get some sticker books, I'll order functional ones because I don't need. I can get decorative books, but I just have to pay attention because I thought they were like half and half, but they're not. But yeah, so this is just the stuff for my work planner for the rest of the month of January. And then I'll be back most likely towards the end of the month because the schedule should come out that Wednesday, honestly. So that way I can go ahead and record all of February, and then from there I'll start putting in my stuff for my recruiter and all from there. So that's it. Y'all have a good night.